Okay, just a quick educational knife video. So, my first tip is for anybody that's maybe thinking about moving out for the first time or somebody that's in the market for buying a set of knives. I would say avoid, again, this is just my opinion, but I would avoid buying the block sets of knives for two, three, $400 to $1,000 or more. If you're spending over $1,000, um, they're going to be quality knives, there's no doubt about it, but it's more about what you're actually going to use. So I would suggest, instead of going out and spending, let's just go on the low end, 300 on a big block full of knives, that you're only going to probably use 2 or 3 out of the whole set. I would suggest spending that same $300 on individual knives. So something like this Victorinox right here. This is a $80 knife, $90 knife. This is gonna do primarily everything you want to use, or anything you want to use it for. Obviously, if you don't like a longer knife, you can get a little bit shorter, and that'll be fine. But this knife is gonna last you a lot longer, and you can have it sharpened for many, many years. It's got tons of steel on it to be slowly worn back over the period of your lifetime, unless you wreck it somehow. I like the plastic handles personally, a lot easier to wash. You can put them in the dishwasher, even though some people say you can't do that, but you definitely don't want to put wood handles in the dishwasher, but this is pretty much dishwasher safe. This is what the commercial kitchens are using. So pick yourself up just your basic chef knife. Then if you want to go with something smaller, this isn't a high-end brand. This is just a bunch of knives that I have to sharpen, but something a little smaller, hopefully spend a little bit more on a thicker knife so that you can use it for like boning and things like fish and stuff like that. A little smaller, easier to work around things and twist when you're inside of an object. You can twist it easier because it's not so thick. It'll also be if you get a thicker metal, it's going to be tougher, so you can put a lot of force on it to get through like bones and stuff like that. But you can still do with this knife, but like I said, it's just a bit smaller, easier to handle. And then you're going to want to get yourself some sort of paring knife. So small, you can spend $8, $9 on a Victorinox or a Henkel for a paring knife. And again, will last you a long time. You can sharpen it and you won't be blowing the budget. The last thing, if you're into breads, obviously a bread knife. So longer the better. They have some that are offset that kind of make it easier to get down to the cutting board, sort of like a regular knife would, because you have this gap here to play with that your hand's not hitting the cutting board. Whereas something like this, you got to get real low on it or pull and drag through to create that angle yourself. So instead of, like I said, spending $300 on a knife set that you're not going to use, go out and buy individual knives, and you could basically pick up everything in my hands here. So we've got the smaller knife, the big chef knife, your paring knife, and your bread knife. You're talking 80, 50, $9. And depending on the quality, if you go like Japanese or something, you could spend $100 on one of these and you'll be well under your $300 budget, and you'll never need anything else unless you're a specialty chef. But for your average homeowner, these are going to be the 4 knives that are going to get you through everything. Realistically, you could just do the 3. You can get a little bit shorter of a chef knife, like I said, if the size intimidates you or anything like that. You just feel like it's just too much blade. But this comes in handy a lot of times with bigger roasts and watermelon, stuff like that. That little bit of extra can go a long way. And then just have them sharpened for, $10, $15 per sharpening once a year maybe. And you'll have these for almost the rest of your life, depending on how old you are and how rough you are on them and how often you get them sharpened. My last point to this is, when you are shopping around, try to avoid knives like this. This one's from IKEA, but they're all the same. Walmart, IKEA, Canadian Tire, Superstore possibly. Anything under $50 really is going to wear out, go dull real fast. You'll have to sharpen it every few months if you want to keep that nice cutting edge that's going to cut through tomatoes and stuff like that. Because as soon as you hit the cutting board a few too many times, this is going to get dull, and then you're just left with a piece of metal that's shaped like a knife. So if you have any questions, let me know. These knives are everywhere, like I said. You can get anything that's painted typically, whether it's got different designs on it, those are all going to be pretty cheap. There's not too many painted knives that are high quality, unless you're talking like a switchblade or a folding knife that might be painted black, but that's about it. So I hope this helps you guys save some money, and then you'll have you'll have one less thing on your counter. Unless you really want a knife block, then you could buy a knife block for all of these, or a knife magnet to go on the wall, line them up on the wall. Like I said, you'd spend a little extra money so that you have kind of more of like a showpiece, I guess. It's a little nicer on the wall than something a little cheaper like this that wears out and chips and just goes dull really fast. But yeah, I suggest the plastic handles again for your average knife user or home cook, because you can put these in the dishwasher if you want. You can leave them in the sink wet, no big deal. The wood handles, they require a little bit of oil once in a while, and you can't leave them as wet as long because wood doesn't like water. These are all going to be stainless steel, and they won't rust on you unless you're spending more money on like a Japanese style knife that has high carbon, which is going to rust super fast. So hope this helps. I know this got a little long fast, but let me know if you have any questions, and you have a nice day.